House of the Dragon, Gregor Clegane did not only burn his younger brother's face in a fire, he is also suspected of killing his own younger sister and even his own father. The Gregor Clegane described in the books was so violent and cruel that the television series showed barely 1% of his true nature. Compared with the events described in the books, the violence shown in the series was extremely limited. On one occasion, he even killed one of his own soldiers simply because the man was snoring too loudly. In reality, House Clegane was neither an ancient nor a particularly powerful noble house. However, because of its extreme violence, brutality, and usefulness in battle, the house always remained very close to House Lannister. Long ago, a member of the Clegane family saved the life of a lord from House Lannister. As a reward, the Clegane family was given land, a title, and a new identity. That single incident led to the founding of House Clegane. When it comes to Sandor Clegane, despite being so close to the Iron Throne, he never agreed to become a knight. But why? In this video, we will discover how was House Clegane founded. According to the books, just how violent was Gregor Clegane? Why did Sandor hate his own brother, Gregor, so deeply? And finally, what did Qyburn do to Gregor that transformed him from an ordinary human being into a mysterious, monster-like creature? Now let us begin this dark story from the very beginning. This story begins during the time of Lord Titus Lannister. He was the father of Tywin Lannister and the grandfather of Jaime Lannister. One day, Titus went hunting in the forest with several of his friends. While searching for prey, he became separated from the group and arrived near a large rock deep inside the woods. But he had no idea that a deadly threat was waiting for him there. Suddenly, he came face to face with a terrifying lioness. At that moment, Titus was completely alone. Just as the lioness was about to attack him, the kennel master stepped forward to protect his lord. A kennel master was a person responsible for caring for hunting dogs. During a hunt, those dogs were used to surround, chase, and control wild animals. That kennel master's name was Clegane. To save Titus, Clegane released his 3 hunting dogs against the lioness. However, the lioness was so powerful that she killed all 3 dogs. She then launched a vicious attack on Clegane himself. The situation had almost moved completely beyond control, but at that exact moment, Titus's friends and soldiers arrived at the scene. When the lioness saw the large number of men approaching, she fled back into the forest. However, all 3 of Clegane's dogs were dead, and one of his legs had been severely injured. Titus was deeply impressed by the courage Clegane had shown while saving his life. As a reward, he granted Clegane some land and a tower house. After that, Clegane established his own noble house, which became known as House Clegane. As the symbol, or sigil, of his family, he chose his 3 hunting dogs. Because those dogs had died on a field of yellow grass, the background of the sigil was also made yellow. Clegane also had a son who was remarkably large, strong, and powerfully built. Lord Titus later made him his squire. Everyone knew that man as Lord Clegane, but his true name is never revealed in the books. Lord Clegane later had 3 children: his eldest son, Gregor Clegane, his second son, Sandor Clegane, and a young daughter. The name of Gregor and Sandor's younger sister is also never revealed in the books. From early childhood, Gregor had an extremely violent nature. People said that he appeared to have been born with a natural talent for violence and cruelty. By only 11 years of age, he had already become extraordinarily tall, powerful, aggressive, and mentally unstable. Even the smallest matter could send him into a violent rage. He always appeared ready for a fight. Then one day, an ordinary wooden toy changed the history of the Clegane family forever. One day, a man who made wooden toys arrived in the village. He gave different toys to many of the village children. At the time, both Gregor and Sandor were still young. Each of them selected a toy that he liked. However, Sandor liked the toy chosen by his older brother, Gregor, even more than he liked his own. Sandor was 5 years younger than Gregor. One day, while no one else was inside the house, Sandor found Gregor's toy and began playing with it. But at that exact moment, Gregor suddenly entered the room. The instant he saw Sandor touching his toy, he became consumed with rage. He grabbed Sandor by the head and forcefully pressed his face into the burning coals of a nearby fire. The young Sandor began screaming in agony, but Gregor refused to pull his head away from the flames. He continued holding Sandor's face against the burning coals until one side of it had been completely burned. Finally, 3 grown men had to pull Gregor backward before Sandor could escape his grip. But by that time, it was already too late. One side of Sandor's face had been permanently and horribly scarred. According to Sandor, their father, Lord Clegane, lied to everyone in order to conceal Gregor's crime. He claimed that Sandor's bed had accidentally caught fire and that this was how his face had been burned. As a result, Gregor received no punishment for such a horrific act. Time continued to pass. Both Gregor and Sandor grew into extremely tall, muscular, and powerful men. He was taller than Robert Baratheon, Brienne of Tarth, and Sir Jaime Lannister, but Gregor was even more enormous. It was said that he was the tallest man in all 7 kingdoms. In battle, he wore the largest and heaviest armor. Even while carrying such incredibly heavy armor, he could easily wield a sword nearly 6 feet long. A normal warrior would have needed both hands to use that sword. Gregor, however, could swing it with only one. Because of his enormous body and almost unimaginable strength, people began calling him the Mountain. But the books also mention another strange detail about Gregor. He constantly suffered from unbearable headaches. Because of this, he regularly drank a powerful medicine known as milk of the poppy. It was a pain-relieving drug made from poppy flowers. Gregor was not cruel only toward Sandor. Their younger sister was also found dead under mysterious circumstances. Similarly, Gregor once went hunting in the forest with his father. But the only person who returned from that hunt alive was Gregor. For this reason, many people believe that Gregor might have killed both his father and his younger sister. However, the truth was never proven. Many servants who worked at House Clegane also disappeared under mysterious circumstances from time to time. It was even said that dogs were afraid to enter the house. Gregor was also rumored to have killed both of his wives. After their father's death, Sandor abandoned his ancestral home and traveled to Lannisport. There, he established a reputation as an exceptional and extremely dangerous warrior. He later entered the service of House Lannister as a highly skilled swordsman. Gregor, meanwhile, was granted the title of Knight, but after witnessing his own brother's cruelty at close range, Sandor never wanted to become a knight. In Sandor's view, most knights did not fight for honor, truth, or the protection of innocent people. They fought only to kill, and if they succeeded in killing the right person at the right time, they were suddenly celebrated as honorable knights and legendary warriors. Sandor hated that hypocrisy. In fact, he considered dogs more honorable than knights. He once said, "Dogs never betray you. They always remain loyal to their masters." For this reason, Sandor preferred to be known throughout his life not as a knight, but as the Hound. During Robert Baratheon's rebellion, Gregor Clegane proved his loyalty to House Lannister by carrying out an extremely brutal attack against the Targaryen family. He murdered Elia Martell, the wife of Prince Rhaegar Targaryen, along with her 2 young children. Before killing Elia, he also subjected her to an act of horrifying cruelty. This incident later became the cause of a deep hatred between Dorne and House Lannister that would survive for generations. Later, after Ned Stark became Hand of the King, a major tournament known as the Hands Tournament was held in King's Landing. Both Gregor and Sandor defeated several powerful warriors during the tournament. Near the end of the competition, Sir Loras Tyrell faced Gregor. Using skill and strategy, Loras managed to knock Gregor from his horse. Gregor could not tolerate the humiliation. In a burst of rage, he killed his own horse with a single strike of his sword. He then charged toward Loras, intending to kill him as well. But at that exact moment, Sandor stepped between them and stood against his own brother. A violent duel immediately began between the 2 brothers. As their swords crashed against one another, the entire crowd watched in shock. But King Robert Baratheon quickly ordered them to stop fighting. The moment Sandor heard the king's command, he stepped away. But Gregor's cruelty did not end there. After this point, the books describe many dark events that were never shown in the television series. After the tournament ended, Gregor left King's Landing and began traveling home. Along the road, he stopped at an alehouse. The teenage daughter of the innkeeper was serving wine to Gregor and his soldiers. Some of Gregor's men began attempting to abuse the young girl. When her father saw what was happening, he politely asked them to stop, but the request alone was enough to enrage Gregor. He slammed the man's head violently against a table. Afterward, Gregor and his companions took turns committing a horrifying act of cruelty against the girl.